Dirextra Construction Business School, London.
Today we will be starting, the normal process of project management and all the paperwork, what is the phases, and what we're doing every meeting, how to open the project, everything, we will look at it. And this is the part of hopefully you will have some idea, isn't it, when you're applying your own, the projects, yeah, in the work. That's how it works. And your expectation, hopefully, the solution to a specific problem, because any company within the project, always there is some solution to certain problems, isn't it? Or choose, or something that customers wanted you to deliver. This is one of things. And the project management concepts and the knowledge, how you can go about those business issues or the certain project. Which steps you forward, certain structure, knowledge, you will have it at the end. And the specific skills, that you can see, some skills that you don't have, you need to have it, isn't it? To be a very effective participant in the project management. Because you have technical skills, isn't it, from education, but you need to learn how to transfer this into the working environment. And you need to have like communication skills, people management skills, and which is the business, isn't it, and everything. And if you combine it with your knowledge, you makes you more stronger, more appeal to the employees. And then many others depends of the job or requirements of the skills. Yeah. And we will look at the introduction and key concepts, and look at the project lifecycle models. We use certain tools to help us identify or analyze the data and gives us input to our project, and it will come out as output, the process or the product. And how we initiate the project, one is decided the project is going, what is the steps, the phases to initiate the project, we have to start it. And the planning the project after that, what we do in every steps, how long it will take, all these aspects with the cost, whatever the requirement. And then executing the project, it means, it's accepted, everybody have to all sign, and you have to just get it run, isn't it, run properly. And then how you control the project, we said, you have to communicate with people every time you're meeting, checking, what needs to be done in that phase of the project, everybody done their job. If anything, that goes wrong, you affect the quality, quantity, and the time. Project will be out of scope. That's why controlling process important, and how we do it within the project. At the same time, all the way through it goes. Okay? And then we will look at the closing the project. It's all done. Everybody is happy, all the stakeholders. They accept, and payment is done. The company is happy, everybody is happy with the project. You can close the project. Documentation. Everybody signing is okay, and later on, if something goes, if you didn't sign, correct one, it's your responsibility and liability. It will cost you, isn't it? So it has to be done in a proper way. And the organizational impacts, what kind of impacts it says if the project, to complete it very effective level in the process, all the documentation, all the legal requirements. Yeah. And the overview of we will look at tomorrow, the overview of the knowledge area and the role of the project manager, which as we said is the key. Manager is the leader and make sure the project goes at the same time. People still enthusiastic, they do their part. At the same time, these people doing lots of other job, and the leader can get all the resources, satisfy the top management and all the stakeholders. It makes sense. That's the whole project concept involves it. Whatever you're doing when you're working in any company, you'll be looking if there's a group in a project pulled together by the project leader, and to produce a product, service, or some issues, maybe improvement or looking at the change in some elements of the, the business, in the construction and the oil and gas industry, which is very international, global level, which you mixing with the all different background of the people, like we mentioned, the culture, and the project to be successful, they have to gel in together. And you have to feel you are in the right place, have the right skills. If you don't, you have to ask management to give you training, isn't it? Because this is like a continuous improvement, Kaizen. You have to always improve, isn't it? Because of the change. You can't, the control, you can't really get rid of the change. It's there, it's already out of the bottle, genius, and you have to control it. Like we learn and control risk elements. And we will look at it, what is the whole project management, what is the key elements of it, and how we continue to process, yeah? And we will look at the key concepts of the project management, and we will look at define the project management concept, what it is, isn't it? And list the reason why PM is needed, why we need the project manager, why we going through all these processes, because business want it. And you want to be certified, and you have to be really, the eligible project manager. You know the process, you can lead your, the job with the people, yeah, you manage. And explain the difference between projects and operation. What is the difference? You will ask, see later on. And identify trends in the PM environment, isn't it? And this project success and failure factor, because you have to, and you learn from it. You have to, then you never do it, because it will affect to get new business, isn't it? Everybody involved. It's very important to be successful. If fails, then why? We learn from it and move on. Yeah? And they identify the potential benefits of PM. Hopefully at the end, you will have all this knowledge. Yeah? And if you look at the concept from the PM book, it says, and it's a circle, isn't it? The project management body of the knowledge is there, and it's like integrate with the application area knowledge and the practice, and the general management knowledge and practice which you have. You're combining all of them, gelling together, and generally accepted project management knowledge and practice. You see your three different knowledge getting together, then you run the project very effectively. And it make you become like project manager. Yeah? You can deal with any project management. And why we do need the project management? Exponential expansion of human knowledge, isn't it? We said things are changing, requirements for those to respond to the market and business are changing. These skills can't be the same. We can't respond to that with the same skills and capacity. That's what we need to learn knowledge. And industry job requirements, they want it. They want you to qualify, certified to work in the company. Otherwise, it's difficult to get a good, meaningful job. Yeah, that's why you have to learn the knowledge. And the global demand, yeah, and global competition. And we said the teams versus individuals. You need to know to work in a team. We work more and more. As well as you are individual skills, but you need to share them within the team, encourage each other, learn from each other. Because team made up from many different divisions, like we said, like metrics, the organizational system. Many different people coming, skills bringing, and you learning from it. It's beneficial actually. You think it's change, you don't want to do it. It's always human nature. That's kind of, the benefits. That's why you want to learn the knowledge. Yeah. And what is if you look at the project statement of the work, project is mainly temporary, the activities undertaking to create unique product or service, like we said, or the solving a certain problem or issues, or dealing with change, whatever. And the SOV is a narrative description, mainly products or services to be supplied under contract within the project at the end product or service you deliver, isn't it? That's the whole idea. It goes through all this right process, and you meet all the requirements. legally, internally, externally, and it's gone through very smoothly. Yeah? You deliver it. And the project management, in a way, that application of knowledge, your own knowledge, you learn knowledge, and training skills, tools, like we said, we use certain tools, you know, academic or the applicable to the real market. And the techniques and all the project activities is, you know, gain, it gives you the skills, isn't it? You learn it. And to meet the exceed stakeholder needs, because they expect from you, and that expectation from a project. That's your project management, what you're doing all the way through. Yeah? Just to be giving you the definition why we do it, you know, why we put in all the effort. That's why we have to do it. And then PM environment, if you look at it, this is a question for you. And what are some trends that impact the environment in which projects are managed today? Environmental, you know, what kind of impact and problems, isn't it? If you look at the project management difficulties, the environmental or the surrounded environment can create some, you know, issues in project management. Because we're looking at external environment, internal, isn't it? What do you think if you're expanding, if you're in the company?
Environment also in cultural orientation, like in oil and gas sector.
The environment isn't a piece of issue. Yeah,
like in the oil and gas sector in some countries very difficult.
Different. Because we said test of factors, isn't it? Could be political, could be legal, could be technical. And you have to deal with all this.
You don't have a good teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork, it's where you have to learn, you have to, it's in you have to do it automatically, isn't it? It's not like you have to just learn for the project. Yeah? Very good. And for anything else? Maybe technology? What do you think? Or changing environment, Lorenzo tell me. Isn't it? Yeah? Technology, for example, it is, isn't it? It's the impact from the environment, whatever another comes, or competition.
If you don't have a good know-how for a product,
Know-how, yeah. New technology, yeah, new process, custom. You have to use maybe new equipment, isn't it? Because of your client wants you to use that, or the competition using that, or the new type of job. You have to use new advanced, or sometimes you develop this in-house specifically, isn't it? With your engineers, you know, together, like oil drills, whatever. If you're doing oil and construction industry as well, and especially every countries, if you're doing global, you know, construction, all the legal aspects is important and politics. You have to deal with politics because you have government construction, you know, construction projects, isn't it? Building like government, usually international. It's not like private. And you might be doing with their own company, joint. You have to gel in, isn't it? Many defense, isn't it? All circumstances. And what is the trend in the market? Like we said, it pushes us to, you know, do the project management effectively. And corporate globalization, we said, you are not comfort or your home anymore. You have to go anywhere you have global. You are a global citizen now. Because that's the job, wherever the job you go. Company is very, very everywhere in the world. Less develop, whatever. Every corner. And because of technology, it's really close. We know what's going on. And the massive mergers and reorganization as well. If the other company, competition, big company, buy the company you're working, you have to gel in, build redundancies, reorganization, change, isn't it? That kind of things going in the environment, you have to able to readapt your knowledge of project management, and you work with these people in that environment. Yeah, does it make sense? And the flatter organization, few of them, short-term result-driven, because companies want to have money in short-term gain. And they don't like to plan long term, and how you can deliver really robust project in a very limited, competitive time. Time limitations, isn't it? That's the market. Morning, come in. And the accelerating trends again, team environment will be changed, isn't it? You have to adapt to it. In every project will be you working very different people. You have to gel in. And the contract, project management and outsourcing, all will be, the change. You have to deal with it. And the primary of interpersonal skills, again, you have to retrain, improve. That's the requirements because it pushes you because of pressure from the changing environment. And the multinational projects you have to do, not just like home projects. And the importance of cultural differences because you work in there, you have to address that, and you have to oblige, the whatever. And the dependency on technology as well, because technology is changing, you can't be comfortable, you learn something, tomorrow will be obsolete. Completely gone, and you have to learn the new technology. Yeah? And this kind of balancing act, isn't it? What's the success? And this schedule requirement, in the cost, between the customer expectation, what they expect, you have to set really right, then you deliver it. If overestimating, underestimating, always cause a problem. And the business objectives, it has to match it, you have to deliver it, isn't it? You have to, in a capacity to deliver, meet those requirements. And then you have to balance the risk, because everything is risk there, isn't it? Minimize the risk. And the project, success of project, this is balancing act. And then you have to do it very effective cost, isn't it? And given time. Yeah, that makes sense. That's the, the juggling bit. And the balanced project, always on the scope. You never go out of scope. Every time you're meeting, everything done, input, output, where is the scope? You are still online. If you go out of the scope, it will cost you, and it will take longer time, and again cost you, and it will affect the quality, like we see ebook, isn't it? You have to do this balance very effectively at the beginning. The process starts from beginning. If it starts wrong, everything goes wrong, not going to affect. That's why we meeting, checking, controlling, repeat communication. It sounds like boring, but it has to be done. Because people easily be, distracted because they are doing lots of other things as well. We have to get them in, and the leadership has to make sure it's happening. They committed there, and they can able to do other things. That's multitasking. That's it. It's very tough, challenging, but that's the environment we learn. And the expectation and objectives congruence. You establish a table like that, every meeting you're taking it. And if you say client customer expectation, if it is low, business objectives is low, and the customer wants more than the organization intends to provide, isn't it? If you say the client customer expectation is let's say high, and the business objectives is is let's say high, and it will be all matched together. That's why it's kind of balancing out this. If not, one outweigh the others, and the project always will be have problem with the scope, cost, time. It's all cost money, and the project never be delivered effectively. Yeah, makes sense. That's why we have to make sure those expectations of both parties, and within our resources, we have to deliver it together. How a project different from the operations?
Will be a set of operations.
Yeah, part of. Yes, very good. You have a good point, it. How about operation just goes continuous? Project can be finished, start, then another project comes in, isn't it? Short, whatever the term, because you will be doing many different projects and starting with many different groups. It's not just doing one thing, finishing, waiting, and then you have to balance them very well when you're committing, in the job. That's why you have to be able to do this multitasking without thinking. It should become like your second hand, isn't it? Automatically. That's the differences, Because in the operation, we will be doing joining other operations. It's going all the daily, some things has to be done, product or service delivered. At the same time, you're doing huge projects sometimes. Yeah? You're contributing all of them at the same time. And the contrast project and operation, like we said, create own charter projects because it's individual, just belongs to the certain project, nothing to do with other part of the operation. And organization and goals. And at the end, it have to match with the general strategy and the organizational. And the operation is semi-permanent charter, organization and the goals, isn't it? And the catalyst for change in the project mainly, there's a lot of changes, new things. And the main thing is status quo, really. Organizational operations is more whatever set up, it goes along. And the unique product or service, maybe, we said maybe change, innovation, whatever, or specific requirement for the client. We do it. And this is your standard products or service still continues as operational. And the heterogeneous team, because you will be pulling up different teams, just suites for that project, sorry. And this is more homogeneous, isn't it? More like, say, people. And start the end date, you have to do what we said, with the defined scope, and it is ongoing. That's the difference, like you mentioned. It makes sense. That's why we have to balance all this and manage. And the PM pitfalls and pluses, it's like anything else, always there is some problems or positives. We have to deal with them. And looking back on project with which you were associated, and what can you see the 3 factors that cause serious problems? And that created a perception of success. What is the perception of success? Elements, you can say 3 factors. What is the failures? Like we mentioned many elements. What do you think? Why the projects fail? Like we mentioned, scope, time, isn't it? Yeah, organization structure, yeah.
Definition of specific
Yeah.
tasks and
Skills.
Plan.
Or between 2 ends, what we promise to are we deliver, isn't it? And everything is set up, the right, and we have resources. And then if you have a new skills and the team you pull together, they need to be trained, isn't it? They need to learn, improve. And you said they need to take into project as well. Why? And how you motivate them and the work enthusiastically, especially change project, which is very difficult. People to, to buy into. That kind of, if you do all these elements of the project right, it will be success, isn't it? And nothing should have gone really less. It has to be every element, every phase has to be successful, isn't it? And you are always make sure in the same scope, never going out in any elements of the project, and all the phases, and then you're meeting, and everybody is doing what they require to. At the same time, people learning, training, and participating. You're always checking, controlling. We will look at later, how we do it effectively. And this is like common pitfalls, like we mentioned. Maybe unclear objective, like we said, scope. If it is unclear at the beginning, it goes wrong. And lack of senior management support, we said it needs to be support leadership, effective. And lack of effective project integration. People you pulled on, not integrating well, they won't produce effective results, isn't it? It has to be gelled together. And maybe inadequate funding, which is like cost estimation you did wrong. And you can get the funding, people not signing extra. That's why at the beginning, and breakdown of the whole, the project, every stages, phases, is very important. Then you cost it. And you get the sign from the people, the paying you money to do that part. Isn't it? It's very important. And change in business priority, if the business is bought or good change the market they are doing, isn't it? Suddenly it can happen, because these are private companies. Even government want to change the politics with the new government in place. They change the side project. It's absolutely gone. That can happen. You have to be prepared for that. You have to see it. And original assumption invalid. What we assumed, all the estimation, everything in the project is suddenly something really drastically changed. Maybe technology is just out of order, isn't it? It's not viable to do that. And in an effective team, that's why team selection is important. If it is ineffective, wrongly chosen, then or not motivated, leadership is poor, then it can cause ineffective team. Then project will be affected. And the lack of effective communication process, we said, repeat all the time, both ways communication, many means, not just one face-to-face, online, offline, whatever. You have to communicate with people, make sure assurances, and give them some power to do things as well. And the others depends on the project, isn't it? These are some simple, then it can go wrong. That's why it is very important to get these skills right, isn't it, and apply. We looked at the defined key PM concepts, isn't it? Looked at all those. And then why we need the PM skills. And differences between projects and the operations, isn't it? We all have the idea. Yeah? And the trends in the PM environment, what is it? And we have to deal with it in balance. And then success and failures factors, it all depends on the project, but main we looked at it. And the potential benefits of the PM, why we're doing it, and the potential benefit for everybody. Yeah, that's the main things we're looking at it. And we're looking at the unit 2, which is project lifecycle models. And when we learn, what it means, and then you will be, dealing with it in the project, in terms of cost, the personnel, and what is the life cycle, when we need it, what we need it in the certain phases of the, the project. And the purpose and the type of project life cycle model, you will be able to identify and put it and apply to your project. And you distinguish between project and the product life cycle. What is it? What's the nuance, the differences? And the role of phase reviews in project management. Why we're doing phases, what's the benefit? And why we're doing, every meeting we have, output, input, we will see it. And applying the model to a hypothetical or, the real project. That's why we applying here, we assuming. But in the real project, you will apply it as a real, and you gain the experience. Yeah? And the key concept, if you look at it, what is the project phase? It is like a collection of logically related project activities, isn't it? Every phase, you say we're going to tick the boxes, what we're doing, each member of the team, and then we ticking off. And then we deciding what will be in the next meeting will be completed. That's why the phases of the project. And it gives us we finish the project where we are. It tells us in costly as well as timely. And then we check the scope and we give us the control. Everybody is doing whatever. If you're doing ad hoc, not in order, you lose the control. Yeah? That's why we're doing it. It's the benefit. And it is kind of activities of culminating the completion of a major deliverable of the project, isn't it? This needs to be done in this phases, done, delivered. Yeah? You get all the finances, approval, everything, and gone. Yeah? And the product life cycle, if you look at what is the difference between the phase, collectively project phases are known as a project life cycle. Each phases altogether, it is your life cycle of the project. Start and middle and finish. Yeah? That's the life cycle, because we have to do that. We have to see we are in line, everything we offer and supposed to do. Yeah? And the product life cycle is natural grouping of ideas in phases, what we're doing, activities, decisions, what decision we have to take, assign for it, and then actions into purchases, product phases, from product conception to operation to product phase out. Yeah? Whatever the product or services we needed in that certain phases needs to be completed, needs to be done. Everybody has to do what they require to do, and you can move into the another phases. Yeah? That's why it has to be done very effectively. These are the concepts, and in the exam they will be asking you, what is it, if you know that. And you will apply in the real project. If you look at the generic cost and stuffing life cycle in a project, this is the example. Cost and stuffing level, in the start of the initial phase of the project, you see very low, isn't it? You see it from the graph. And intermediate phases, one or more, maybe activities then, phases, and then what time it will have, which is cost implication to it. And it is more costing, isn't it? You see the curve is going up. Because many activities there. You have to assign lots of different, the activities, orders, everything. And the final phase is the finish. And you see the cost is going down because it's closing everything. And project is, your involvement with the project will be less than, in the middle, intermediate. Does it make sense, isn't it? That's why we use the Lifecycle, shows us exactly where we are. And the project life cycle, for example of one of the project, concept and proposal you have, which is initial phase, where you're deciding, starting the project. And then you moving in the intermediate phase, will have many different phases, depends on the project. Will be development, implementation, and verification. Yeah, this is the example. And the final phase will be the termination, which is completion. You're signing out, project is finished, moving on another project. Yeah? This makes sense, isn't it? That's why we're using all this standard, the way. And if you look at the pharmaceutical project life cycle model, you see it started all the breakdown, the initial stage, and the intermediate, and the submission. Yeah? And whatever the project you're doing, according to activities, you will be having this map. Yeah? And you have to get it. And some companies use spiral methodology. We start, from, it continues all the time, check, control, every phases. And the final is deploy, operation, and production support testing. And the testing, whatever the products or service, can be, the proposed to the client. That's it, really. Well, yeah? Some companies use it, and this is evaluate, identify, design, and construct, like we said. Especially maybe construction companies or as they use it. Depends, whatever the company using, certain model you will use that. Okay? And you can even offer, if there is, like we said, other alternatives, maybe better. And the importance of the phase review, why it is important, why we have to do that, the systematically, certain process. And it shows us, proposal preparation, we prepare what we need, all the documentation, all the requirement, skills, everything for the project. And the requirement analysis, you say everything you set up, it has to be right. And it is really right what is expected from the project. You have order, offer, and what you have, what you need to get. Excellent, isn't it? Which skills you will collect from different departments, for example. That's why it gives us a clear picture, and it's kind of planning, make you more, the own the thing, isn't it? Instead of going out of scope, you can control. And then you have the first you done requirements review, general design review, then you're working on it, whatever the service or product, and the general design. Later you go in more detail, isn't it? And then detailed design, which is almost close to the ending of the project or product service. And you go into detailed design review. Again, give you opportunity to review what you initiated in that phases. So all that check, control, and move into final. And the code and debug, which is tested, is ready to the whatever the product and outcome service. And it will be test ready to go to, the receivers. Okay? That's why we facing, that's why it's important to do that as correct as possible for each project. And the phase initiate the example. For example, what you have to have in the detailed design, you make sure you get it right, all the the elements, and the correct and complete previous phase. Because your input in that phase will be output, input will be another meeting, isn't it? Whatever the outcome. And you have to do that, and you have to check, whatever assigned at the end of the meeting, everybody is done. Faces in the right, order. Yeah? And you have to assess aspects of the requirements, design approach, and deliverables. As you define in every meeting, it's in front of you. It's already, the identified work of items, what needs to be worked. And this will be the input of the other meeting. And it is outcome of that meeting. Okay? And it determines contractor rewards payment for closing the phases. And it allows you, because you know when it's finishing ending, certain phases. And the ready review of the beginning phase and give you allow to move on to next. If it is not completed, and if you move, and project will be, failed. And detailed design phase, that's what we're doing. It's general, then going to details. And the resource estimate available, because we're doing more things now, isn't it? More activities. And we have to, the resources, what resource we have, what we need from other departments, get it, or train people. And you have to do this in advance, not just all the time. And design maturity, how far we gone, what we defined it. And the project plan review and update. And again, we controlling, checking, and moving in. And secure stakeholder approval to proceed. Because without their signing, because all the costs, everything, even the activities and the resources, you can't move on. You need to show them this is all done, we need to do this, that's why we need allocation. And that has to be shown then, in that order. Yeah? That's why we have to do it. And the project lifecycle model, this is like exercise, but we don't need to do it. Divide the current project on which we can do it. We are working into phases, name them, and write a brief statement of purpose for each phase. Because you are not working in a project, isn't it? If you're working in a company, you will be doing what we mentioned. And the summary, what we cover, concept and purpose of the project life cycle, why we're doing it, what it means for the project, isn't it? What is the necessity. And the phase reviews in the PM, we define why we're doing detail and general all the phases. And the differentiate project life cycle and product life cycle, isn't this different? And the apply model hypothetical or real project. That's why you will apply this to your real project, and you're following the same things, same, the idea, and they define all the details, yeah, for the project. And how we initiate the project. We completed all, the phases, everything. And the main function of each PM process group, you will be able to hopefully, when we going through the initiation, the process, you will be able to understand and apply to the real project, isn't it? What is the functions? Yeah? And the purpose of the initiation process, like the other one, why are we doing it? It is important, it needs to be done, why, reasons. And the inputs and outputs or tools and techniques, like we said, what will be input for the project in certain phases, what will be output in the Dirextra. Yeah? And develop a sample project charter, and we will look at some samples, we have that. And you have to have a just charter every meeting, you bring in your charter. It's all the details and phases that what you have done, your input as well, individual. And you're showing your project leader. And you have to give an example of how process or groups apply to the project as a whole or to a project phase. You will be able to have that knowledge, yeah? More or less, the hypothetical. And the process definition means a series of actions, isn't it? People bring about a desired result. That's why you're doing certain activities within the phases. Yeah? And type of process means project management process, managing the project, isn't it? Whatever required, people doing it. And product-oriented process, if the product is used within the project, and business-oriented process as well. And business part needs some kind of, process. You have to approve the people, all this correspondence, the providing the evidence, isn't it? All this, the practical working within the working environment. Necessity, yeah? Paperwork, everything. And the process groups, initiating processes start, and we go into the planning the processes, exactly define how many processes, that this particular project will go. Yeah? After that, you executing the process, you're going into doing it, because everything is ticked, done, up to that, all the phases. And then you, all the same time, you always check and control every meeting. Everything needs to be checked, signed, move into other phases. If it is done wrongly, we said it will go wrong. And the closing the process means you completed the process, everybody is happy, everybody sign up, and it will give an example, it will be documented, HR will document, put it as an example for the other jobs, other project, and it's in your CV as well, you complete it. You can go on to another project. And the process interaction is inputs. We will see the charter. It will be inputs what needs to be done. Is it already everybody done it? All the activities. And what tools and techniques we need to use in the the intermediate phases to get job done. Because we have used some tools and techniques to help us analyze the what we do, isn't it? And the outputs it will be for the another meeting it will be input. Then you say this needs to be done, you do it and bring it to the next meeting to check out. We done the phases. And the taxonomy, which means all the costs, isn't it, control everything. And we know it, we are online, the inline. And initiation process, planning the process, we will see figure 3 to 5. And the process group overview, if you're looking at it. And the purpose of the initiation process, commit the organization to a project or phase. It means we are doing this. It's all approved, everything planned, and you have to start it. If you don't initiate, they give you sign, give a go, and everything, being financially, timely, whatever, and allocation of resources. Otherwise, it never starts, because these people need to sign. Yeah. And the overall solution, direction, it sets. Exactly, what you said it will be, everybody agree with that. And they define top level, project objectives, and then what is required from top management, and support the project, isn't it? We get their approvals, it's important. That's why it has to be in the initiating project level. And secure necessary approvals and resources, and validate the alignment with strategic objectives. We said any changes, whatever, and you align it, you have to have that power. Empowerment, isn't it, people doing it. And to assign a project manager, then it is ready to assign whatever the project manager, they have all these skills to manage the project, is it legal? Yeah? This is the initiating of the project, that's why you're starting like that. And this will be the charter, you will have every meeting. For example, the core process of initiation, input for product description, or if we're doing, or service, strategic plan, what is it at the beginning, and the project selection criteria, and the historical information, what is based on, with the project and related to. This is the first, the input first meeting we're doing it. And the process means initiating is the process of formally recognizing a new project exists, or existing project should continue into its next phase. That it means, isn't it? And then what tools we use? Project selection methods, tools, and the expert judgment. Like we said, we use the expert people in judgment, and they give us the good input to, to get outcome. Yeah? And output, this will be another meeting's input. Project charter, we have to do it. And project manager identified, assigned. And then constraints, what is constraints we have? We have to sort it out before the next meeting. What is the issues, problem we can face? Everybody is with the project. And assumptions, what is assumptions as well? The general view of other people. That is the charter. And the project charter is, like we said, document, issued by senior management, provides the project manager with authority, isn't it, to apply organizational resources to project activities, each phases. We have activities, people involved. They have their own charter there and showing what they are doing in the charter. Is it okay? That's why it has to be done. And otherwise, you can't get any support or funding. It has to be proper, documented. And the project charter content, there will be business need, project objectives, like we said, and project deliverables, what we deliver in short games, in a time, and assumptions, what we assuming we will be, and the constraints, again we said key staff who is doing what, checking, controlling, posting, everything, and the written authorization as well. We said, then all the resources allocated, people can come and work for the, the project, and they won't be pushed in from, their line manager, isn't it? Yeah? That's why they are, have a right to. And the project charter, this is an example of what we are not doing. If you're doing a real one, using the handout like complete sample project charter, like we said, you could do that based on that. And you are the project manager if you are senior. You can do practices. And choose an anticipated major project assignment. Could be anything, isn't it, project? And you're applying all these processes, initiating, the charter, everything. Yeah. And the sample initiating activities means, negotiate, write, and refine the project charter, isn't it? What will be all the activities breakdown. Yeah? And confirm how the project links to the business need. You have to justify, the needs of the project, isn't it? And your existence there within the project. And the management responsibilities, we identify all the work breakdown, isn't it? And the geographical location involved, you need to travel, we need to go, all these things needs to be, prepared, given, allowances. And top level objective versus strategic business planning, how they gel together, it needs to be aligned. Like we said, still we don't want to get out of scope for our project, but at the same time, general strategies, objectives needs to be in the same line, because they need to support us, isn't it? And they make strategic procurement decision, but anyway, you have to procure something, isn't it? Skills, or product, or service, anything in the certain phases. And they make or buy, like we said before, isn't it? What we do, and it needs to be done in given time, because the project will be effective if it is not done, won't complete it on time if not done. And qualify the vendors, suppliers, who is going to deliver to us. If we buying it, isn't it? Define, and we said in the procurement all the process, how we choose the vendor, how the process we have. Give us exactly what we want. Yeah? And the key outputs of initiation process, we did the charter, everything. We have the, the inputs and what we expect after that. And project charter again will be covered. Project manager, we have the charter there. Identified and assigned afterwards because we put it initial input. Now it is out, it is already in place. And key position identified, all the relevant, whatever involved with the project. And the constraints identified again, we have to deal with that. And assumption identified, because every activity faces is all cost related, isn't it? And you have to align with certain people, assign them, get approval, because could be, it depends on the project, how complicated and each phase is. That's why we're doing it one by one. The signing, getting done, and move on. And it will affect all the scope, cost, and the timing.
Dirextra Construction Business School, London.